where you knew you needed to start winning? Maybe it was in March. Describe a little bit about the cohort at Lockton, and all of a sudden, here we are, and you've got to create some kind of win with several thousands of people.
Yeah. It was, so when I started in Lockton, I started in December of 2018. So it's been 16-ish months. I'm never very good at math, but somewhere around there. It was obvious my second day at Lockton what our mission was. So Lockton is a 54-year-old Kansas City-based company that prided itself in the human-to-human interaction, the social connection to do business. So they hadn't leveraged technology, so there wasn't a huge investment in technology. So it became obvious to the most casual observer, me, when I first walked in the door to say, you know what? We've got to create a strategy to go figure out how do we make it better for our associates, for our customers, for our clients to do their jobs. So we started on a mission that really enabled us to transition to this new sort of work environment. So before March, you came into the office. You drove wherever it was. We have 100 offices across the US. You drove into the office. The remote work, it was heresy at Lockton to think that you could do business from your kitchen table. It just wasn't part of the norm. So on Friday, we made the announcement, actually Thursday, we made the announcement that we are going all remote work. There was a freak out moment, not by me, not by the technologists, but by the sort of the people that thought that the world was flat, if you will. And that lasted all the way through Sunday night, where I was on conference calls and, are we ready? Is it going to work? Is it going to, whatever, right? So Monday hits, and we have 5,000 associates in the US, and we have the technology to know how many associates are logged in. And there was only 3,000 that logged in. And, it was the biggest issue of those 3,000 was how to restart my Wi-Fi router at home. Mm-hmm. That was the biggest issue. So then Tuesday hits, and we saw from 3,000 to 4,700. We had never had more than 4,600 people on the platform ever. So so people, Monday hit, people figured out, you know what? It's going to work. It's working. And then the transition, that's when the light bulbs started to go on for Lockton that, wow, we can support our customers. We can work on our deals. We can make the company run with the technology that we had in place. But it started back in December. I started in December 14th. It started on December 15th is when that journey started to enable this capability. It went super well.
Hey, Byron, can I jump in and ask a quick question? There's a question about what did you do to help people triage those first couple days?
Yeah, you bet. So we were talking before, we set up videos, we set up job aids, we set up numerous PowerPoint and I call them, you can't use techie stuff for non-techie people. So what we did is we looked at creating pictures on how-tos. We got and looked at the widest used Wi-Fi router, and we took a picture of the back of it and said, here's how you reset it. Here's how you reset a Google Fiber router. Here's how you reset a Cisco type router. So a number of things that we did, but you have to put it in terms that our associates are insurance wizards. They're not technology wizards. They expect us to do that. But you've got to have the understanding of knowing who your audience is. So it was a number of mechanisms, a number of means that we distributed that information out to.
And do you have, you talked about taking pictures of toolboxes or the back of your computer. Could I just ask you in full disclosure, can you pick up your phone and show me the cockpit in your office right now? Can you do that? Come
Yes.
on. I mean, we're friends. You talk, insider, go ahead, just show me. I hope you're wearing pants.
Yeah. Oh, darn. Yeah. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. So I'm a techie nut, right? So, so for me, I'm a stander.
Okay.
I like to stand, right?
Okay.
So for me, I have got to have the raised desk for
Okay.
2 days. For 2 days, I sat in my comfy little chair, and I was fidgeting all over the place.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the raised desk was a godsend for me. Another big thing, I'm a visual guy. So for me, I have got to have a whiteboard.
Okay.
So I've got a whiteboard. I've got double screens, the whole 9 yards.
Mm-hmm.
I've got both Mac and PC.
And your earphones are by?
Earphones, I have, for video conferences, you don't want to skimp on the headphones. You want to get some high quality headphones. And if you do video conferences like this, where you want people to hear you, these are Apple headphones, and these are wired. AirPods work awesome as well. I'm one of the 2% of human beings where AirPods don't stick in my ear. So I have to go with the wired ones. Okay. And I can't do the 250 brand new AirPod 2s. Those are out of my league.
That's cool. So other technology in the toolbox besides the hardware, are there a couple of either applications where, you know, everyone tries to just like skirt around the CIO? Oh, I'm just going to like download this application and I'm going to have these 400 people now start to work off this. I mean, do you use Calendly to help people schedule? Are you using any virtual assistants? I mean, what are you seeing out in the field that you could share that might have been a win where you people were like, I can't do that. I can't do that. You're like, yes, you can.
I'll tell you, one of the biggest things that we did, and this is very recent, 4 weeks ago. So one of the things that attracted me to Lockton is it's very much about the associate, the employee, and how the employees create their connections socially. And doing this over video, it's very hard to keep that social fabric going that you have within the office that you create when you're talking at the coffee pot, or, you know, if you're going to lunch together, or those sorts of things. So we deployed a technology called Facebook Workplace. Okay. Facebook Workplace is absolutely amazing. So think of it as Facebook, but specific to your working environment. So we have 100 offices across the US. We've got a Houston office, a Dallas office, Denver, et cetera, et cetera. Those groups can now create groups and share wins and share all sorts of, we have a puppy dog group. We have a cat group. We have a social happy hour group. We have a wins that get shared. So that was one big technology that has really, we were sort of skeptical. Do we do it now? Do we not do it now? That was a huge win for us. Another one is around Microsoft Teams. Microsoft Teams is, so again, in the office, you can walk over to somebody's desk and say, hey, I just sent you an email, pull up that email and do your changes to a spreadsheet, Word doc, PowerPoint, whatever. But now you can't do that. So now we're in the process of actually deploying Microsoft Teams to enable associates to collaborate.
Yeah.
And it's a huge win for the organization. So that's how we're creating the connections. Another one is the video conferencing, Zoom. So we aren't a Zoom customer. We are a Cisco Webex customer. And I had our producers, which are our salespeople, come in and said, Byron, we need to use Zoom. We need to use Zoom. I said, no, just use Webex. It's the same stuff. And what they articulated to me is, and they, only a salesperson, only a producer could do this. It was just like, he knew exactly what to say. So he said, Byron, imagine somebody coming in and they were selling something to you over a video. And you had two people. And one video came in and it had this beautiful background, this logo. It was polished. It looked like Karen. It looked like Karen's video, right? And then imagine a video like mine. The salesperson is trying to sell you from his basement office.
Right.
Who looks better? Who shows better? Well, Webex, I thought it was a crazy request. Webex doesn't offer the backgrounds. Yeah. And that's a big deal. Internal is fine, but external, it's not fine. So, there's security and all this other stuff. And I said, guys, here's the deal. We have to allow our producers to meet their clients where their clients want to meet. Yeah. So if they want to use Zoom, let them use Zoom. That's okay.
Yeah. We've got a couple of Q&A questions, and these are pretty specific. Christine, maybe you can consolidate. You've been reading the stream here. There's a few more people wanting to ask technical questions.
Yeah, well, I'm kind of looking at those to consolidate them. There was a question about, as you've converted everything over and you're using Facebook for, Facebook Workplace or whatever, how do you make sure, now that everyone's working from home, that you have security in place so you don't have any challenges with hacking, or can you?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. And it was top of mind for us as well. So, you got to know the rules of what to use Facebook for. So Facebook is not a create work product. And we actually created, Karen, you'll love this. We actually created a Marvel comic PowerPoint that says Iron Man and Captain America, teams and workplace better together. So
I like that.
So the way that there are things that we do in Facebook Workplace. So they're more the social things. They're more the things that you would send out for like how your organization is doing. Just like you would do with personal social media. For things that we're creating work product around, things we're creating deliverables around to go after a customer or prospect, those get done in teams. So that work product stays inside of Lockton and it doesn't move outside of Lockton. So for workplace, we put policy in place, but we've also we don't allow the connection back into our environment from workplace. Workplace runs in Facebook and Facebook's data centers.
Okay,
I'm going to ask a follow-on question to that. That was a combo with someone else's. So how do you compare Facebook Workplace, you have Slack, there's Yammer, there's Teams. Does it become too many different platforms? Or is it all in beta now until people figure it out?
No, you got to be conscious of that. So you've got to understand the different messaging channels that are out there, but you've also got to monitor the use. So you've got to have governance around it. If you just roll it out there and don't have, here's how to use it. Karen said it perfectly. They're going to go figure out how they want to use it, right? So you've got to have the rules of the road. You can't just lay it out there and expect them to go where you want them to go.
So last night on the news, the guy didn't wear his pants in a video. Okay, I'm just going to get real. Yeah, you've got 5,000 or 7,000 global employees. Okay, we're in a state, at least for a month now, where we're still living in a professional virtual video world. What can you share that is a comical or really a win? I mean, we've got sales calls going on where we're shaking virtual hands. Yep. Hello, here's my virtual hand. Let me take on that $2 million or $3 million contract. And you're thinking, I don't feel good about this. So tell a couple of quick video stories, because loosen up the crowd here.
Yeah.
Do this. Yeah.
Yeah. So probably the funnest one that we heard was, we got a call into the help desk and this producer was freaking out. Our salesperson was freaking out. Yeah. Because I can't see him on video. I can't see him on video. It's become mine. Your Webex is not working. I go, okay, what's the problem? So walked him through. So he dialed in to the phone number and thought that just by dialing into the phone number that video would start automatically. And his phone, he didn't have a PC or a laptop with a camera on it. He just thought the video would just magically appear. And this was his first time ever doing a Webex video. So we had to educate him on, you got to get a camera. You've got to leverage the app. You've got to do all these things to get video to your constituents that are dialing in. So we kind of chuckled at that, going, okay, got it. And of course, this person has a history for not being a technology or a early adopter for technology, but it was fun. It was fun. I think that really the coolest thing, and hopefully some of the other folks on the call can talk to this as well, but I think the coolest thing is when this whole thing started out, when we were in the office, nobody would come in with video. If you were coming in from the outside, nobody would come in with video. And I remember our first, and Karen's got it up there, I remember our first quarantini that we did. Mm-hmm. People would come in and you'd see the gray blob there with their initials, and it was, they were talking and they were getting used to this whole conferencing sort of deal. But now it's like you're the oddball. And my apologies if somebody is dialed in here, but you're the oddball if you're not doing video. Yeah. So I think it's sort of changed the game. It's changed the dynamic. And Lockton has, again, this company that was very much about dialing in, has changed the mindset of how they interact with people. I mean, I'm on Webex or Zoom meetings throughout the entire day. And it's a mandatory for me and the people that I report to and the people that report to me that you turn video on just so we can have that engagement that you miss if it's just dialing. So it's a huge deal. Isn't it exhausting? I mean, come on. Karen, it is. So you're on stage all the time. So tell me about a misstep where you've either had to apologize for technology or you're like, this is broken and we have got to fix it in May or we have to fix it in June. Because I know on that, I can read what's on your board over there, by the way.
And I'm only kidding. But I gotcha.
Our secrets. No,
There's
just
secrets.
kidding.
But what's a misstep you're trying to correct right now that maybe you could fix in May and June? Are there any missteps that are still broken?
So, you know, probably, and I think somebody asked the question around the communication channels. So imagine, so we have Facebook Workplace, we have Microsoft Teams, we also have Skype for Business, and then we have our devices, right? We have our text messaging and those sorts of things. It is almost overload because the devices are so connected now through the apps. I have Teams on this, I have text messaging on this, obviously, and then all of my laptops and all of the chat infrastructure. When somebody wants to get a hold of me, or multiple people want to get a hold of me, it's nuts. It's like Armageddon coming in. So I think one of the things that we're looking at going forward is how do we shut stuff down? So Skype is not long-term in our footprint, but how do we shut stuff down and get more directed at what channels we want to communicate on? So that is but you know, people are adapting, they're figuring it out, but I can tell you the common sort of what could we do better, when I ask what could we do better from my constituents, it's wow, we've got too many ways for people to get a hold of me. You know, it's almost, I'd rather almost have the walk up to all these different channels that people come in. So that's one that we've got to go figure out. One that that hasn't hit us, but I can tell you that's out there in the tech industry is the phishing attempts have just gone off the charts. So you've got bad actors that are taking advantage of this whole sort of work from home. And it used to be that, you know, an assistant or a chief of staff would go into an executive and they would just say, hey, did you really send somebody this? Whereas now these bad actors they're figuring out how to send it to the person that is responsible for either writing the checks or whatever, giving out the information. And they're taking advantage of the situation. And the only way to prepare for that is to train your people. You know, train your people on what to look for. And luckily, over the last year and a half, we have been on a march to make sure that we don't get hit by that. And you can see on the weekly metrics, it's almost doubled, tripled, and quadrupled where people are trying to find that crack to break in, to get somebody to click on something that they shouldn't click on. So those are two big items.
I have a follow-up question to that. In addition to you training people on what to look for or to wear pants or you know, whatever, if we have to do something like this again, or just for the, you know, those who are less technology enabled, are there newsletters, are there things that they should be looking at or keeping up if they're not a tech expert and they're just a lay person? What is something someone can do to just kind of keep up with what's going on and to be ready if we have to do something?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. You know, and I'm assuming they're talking in terms of just how do you stay connected with technology?
Yeah, just how do you stay relatively current?
Yeah. So there's you know, there's a couple web apps that I if you're a newsy type of person. So BBC, I'm a big BBC guy. So I do the BBC. They've got a tech section. So just spend a minute or two just talking about that, right? Or to go through and reading that. There's an app called CNET that has sort of the, it's not in the bowels of technology, but it's more from a user perspective. Go take a look at that. Zoom is here to stay. Webex is here to stay. GoToMeeting is here to stay. I saw a couple articles that Zoom has actually put out some training webinars on best practices for Zoom meetings. Go out to YouTube, take a look at those and how to conduct a meeting, right? How to conduct a Zoom meeting. And I got a feeling Karen is going to ask me how to some of the best practices on how to do that. But there are better meetings than others that are out there on how to do it. Here, here's the deal. We had over Easter, right? And I'm sure a lot of people did this. Over Easter, we had a family meetup. So I have a Zoom account from my old consulting days that I use, and it was a lot easier just to have somebody click on a link in an email that brings all this stuff up for you. It was super easy, even for my parents and my in-laws, to execute it. My cousin, about the same age as me, had an issue, but we figured it out for her. So, but it's a great sort of way to interact. So there's a number of things, but find the channel. If you've already got a news channel, most likely they've got a tech section. Go take a look at it and see what's interesting out there.
So going on to getting back to work, which is May 15th or that week, what is going to change from a technology standpoint? And what has to change to be safe, even reconfiguring workplaces, check-ins, temperature check-ins? I mean, now give me 1 minute or less what you're planning on doing that Monday, because everybody left in March, now we're all coming back in May. What's going to change from a technology standpoint that first week? Go ahead.
Yeah, that first week, I think the first question that we are asking is, do we need to go back?
Okay.
Do we need to go back? And
Yeah.
so we have proven over the last 7, it'll be 8, 9, whatever weeks, do we really need to go back? Because here's what I would tell you. This has been an awesome experiment. Not good for humanity, but it's been a good social experiment for Lockton to know that, you know what? Lockton is not a business address. Lockton is where the associate conducts business. And if they conduct business in their home office, on their patio, by the pool, it doesn't matter. It absolutely doesn't matter, because we're taking care of our customers, we're taking care of our associates, and we're writing new business. So I think what changes is, do we need all the space that we have? We have 23 cubicles left in our office on the plaza. So we were looking at, do we expand? Do we go buy a building? Do we go buy more floors in a building? We have that across all of our 100 offices in the US. We had 10 office build outs that we were going to do prior to the pandemic. They're all on hold. I'm not buying the gear to support those new offices. So technology wise, the technology is proven. The technology is there. So now it's about what do we need to bring back in the office, and what don't we need? For me and my team of IT professionals, I don't think we need to go back into the office, because we're getting more time back in the day. We've reduced our commute. We have proven that we can support the company with inside of our homes. So I think the big thing is understanding, what does that comeback look like and who's coming back?
Okay, so now your wife called me during that break, Darcy. with the password to your Amazon shopping account for Staples.
Oh, no.
And yes, she did. And she has given me, let's see if you can guess the top 3 things that she wants from Staples, but yet I want you to tell me what your Staples from Staples list is. This is a shameless plug. Joe Reardon told me to do this. It's like, we love Staples. Give me the Staples from Staples. How was
Awesome.
that, Laura? Was that good enough? Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. No, so what do you need, right? So what makes for a good work environment? There's the very economical sort of side, and then there's the, okay, let's go wild and crazy sort of side. So when you do web conferences, when you do video, you got to get these. You got to get something that you can that's built for conversation, right? Don't trust your audio capabilities of your PC or your Apple device, because, you know, let's be brutally honest, those things are built for PowerPoints, prezos, playing games, those sorts of things. And they're built, the speakers are built for sound, but the mics, they put cheap mics in them. So you want to, for these types of things, you want to use some sort of earbud or ear device. If you want to go really crazy.
Yeah. Oh boy.
I don't like these because they connect to every single device I have because they're Bluetooth and they're smart. So they've got, but these work really good for a single device. You know, have a laptop. So you probably saw, I probably have a multitude of laptops you can get from anywhere from 300 to all the way up. You know, Karen, if she's buying a computer for coding, that's one of these guys, one of these Lenovo's.
Yeah.
They and don't skimp on the ones with this speakers, and you've got to have the audio jack, right? You got to have the audio jack for mics and whatnot. I love doing video conferences on Macs. So this is my Mac Air. I'm on a Mac Pro right now. The camera quality is unbelievable, and it works. It just, you know, the setup and the audio and the parts, it just works really well together. Another big piece is the whiteboard. So I'm a visual guy. So you gotta have the whiteboard for the effect. But there's a lot of things. Whatever makes you comfortable is what you should go with.
Is there anything on the fancy side that you've got people calling you and saying, oh, I need a home office now, but I still have my office downtown or wherever that is. So now you have like this dual thing.
Yeah.
Is there something that you find that's on everybody's I want to have list besides the speakers, the extra, what else are they asking for?
Dual screens. So,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
all right.
Dual screens. Dual screens is a big deal. You know, it is a productivity piece, and you know, they're 120, 100. You know, depending. You go to Staples catalog and you'll find the list, but dual screens is a big thing. Paper. Okay, so insurance is paper, right? So another big thing is people are asking, so what? You know, I got all this paper. I want to get it scanned in, and I want people to start sending me stuff in PDFs, right? Because what they would typically do in the office is they would print and print and print. Well, their little printer at home is not the office printer, right? So it can't keep up. So there's different applications out there, and I've got an iPad. iPad. I know it's hard to believe, but I got an iPad that you can annotate. So I've got my little pencil over here. You can do Evernote. Evernote's a great one. I'm partial to this one called Notability. Notability's been great for me. I can draw. I can. It will allow me to search my handwriting for specific text, which is if I'm looking for a topic that I discuss, Karen Fenaroli, I can type in Karen Fenaroli, and it will pop up all of
Wow.
the writings that I did.
Wow. Wow.
That's a way to help reduce paper. For me, I don't print anything.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a way so that when we do transition back into this new normal, if people are printing a lot of stuff, then they're going to carry that back and forth. And, you
Yeah.
know, in the insurance world, you don't want that stuff just laying around.
And Jamie Simpson says, don't forget to get a good chair. And that's right, because I sat in a
That's
really
exactly
crappy
right.
chair for a week and it was miserable.
Well,
That's
Christine, why don't you share that experience, because it was a good service that company did. Or are you willing, I mean, a chair is technology, right? Your body is. So what did that company do? They called you up and,
Well, to be fair, my husband's an architect, so one of the interior designers was loaning chairs. So
Oh.
I'm sitting in one of his loaned chairs. So
oh, you could do a shameless plug for that company. Who was that?
I don't remember the name of the
Oh,
company, so I cannot.
oh,
But
okay, we're gonna-
I will on a future call. I will on a future
Okay, okay.
That's awesome.
So Winning Wednesday, in the theme of this, because we got just a few minutes left, if any questions, and please, if anyone wants to turn off their.
Charlotte Barksdale had a fun question. If Charlotte wants to unmute and ask her question.
Charlotte, where are you? She's here.
And maybe she had to jump off. I don't know.
What was her question?
She wanted to know if you were Alexa, a Google Home, and I'm going to add in a third option, or have issues with both and cybersecurity.
Yeah. So I have my Google Home right behind my Mac. Can't see it, and I have my Alexa over here. So I have more on the Alexa because I have a smart home than I have on the Google Home. But I kind of play in both worlds.
So, closing thoughts on words that make you win and inspire you. Personally, you got a lot on your plate. Even the fact that you showed up today, I mean, you know, we would hunt you down if you didn't, but we so appreciate it. Yeah, you did. I'm so honored that you stayed in Kansas City. I know you've had lots of opportunities to leave and be fancy in other cities, but winning for us in Kansas City today is exceptional. Give me a couple of words that are meaningful to you in this time that you could just share with our fans on the phone and the chamber, small business. It's about winning.
It's about It's about winning. So for me, you turn lemons into lemonades, right? So there are some companies that are out there going, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? We're going to maintain. I don't think that's a good philosophy. I think you look at the environment and you adapt to the environment, and you figure out new things. That's what makes us the top of the food chain from everything else out there, is that we can think and we can adapt. So take this opportunity, not all these problems, but take the opportunity and turn it into how to figure out how to sell. What are things? So I'm thinking about every day. I'm thinking about what that producer drilled into my head. How do I create that trusted partnership? And I'm working with different companies on how do we sell virtually? What sort of training can I present to them to say this is the best way to create that partnership virtually? If it's a virtual fist bump, if it's a virtual handshake, whatever the case may be. But figure out, don't get stuck in I have to shut the news off, right? The news is, oh my gosh, it's like, don't listen to it. Just shut it off. Apologies if there's news stations on, I apologize. But use it as an opportunity. Turn the lemons of today into the lemonade of tomorrow. So that would be what I would leave this group with.
Well, great episode today, grand slams. I know that this is, Laura, is this going to be posted up on your website so people can pull it down? And I've noted a bunch of technology items. Actually, there is another question here Christine, do you want to grab that? A last question. It looks like it's a good one. Bob, maybe Bob Scott. Bob, could you unmute yourself and ask that question?
Okay, am I unmuted?
You are.
All right, thanks. Just from an audio video equipment standpoint, I wondered what you think the traditional meeting room or conference room is going to look like in the future.
No, that's a great question. Great question, Bob. So I think it's going to look like this, frankly. I think you're not going to have to go into a particular office facility to do a conference, because those, we put in a couple in our building on the plaza, and they're not cheap. But this is getting people used to the video capabilities. And plus, here's the other thing that we learned is the people on the phones, it's hard for them to hear if you're in a conference room. So our remote people that were remote before actually have given us feedback that says this is better for them because they can hear better and they don't have the echo of this big room. So, you know, we'll still all, there'll be some conferences, but I think the majority of what we're going to have when people start to go back in, I'm thinking for that first wave to go back in, we don't have video at every desk at Lockton. So I am pre-buying laptops, cheap laptops that have video cameras on them, because what's their expectation going to be? They're gonna expect to be able to do a video conference, and I'm not going to want them to go into a conference room together until there's a vaccine.
Right.
So I got to solve that problem, but I think it's going to be more of this. To be honest with you, I think people are going to get comfortable and get used to this.
Great question. You know, even the folks that are making human Zoom. I was on that Zoom call, by the way. The call had 300 people on it. And there's an article, I'll, if I can put it in the link, or I can send it to Laura. Laura can send it out. The title of the article was, "What's Missing from Zoom Reminds Us What It Means to Be Human." You know, and kind of on that note, you know, Byron, you are such a human leader. We really appreciate it. Claps.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Saying appreciation. And with that, I think we've had a grand slam today, and I thank you so much. Thank you, Christine. Thank you, Chamber. Thank you, Byron. Thanks, audience.
Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. Thank you, everybody, for joining.
Byron.
Thank you.
Thanks, Karen.